Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Sandra's Homespun Life. In today's video I'm going to be making for you mini Cinnabundt cakes using the Dash Mini Bundt Cake Maker. Now yes, you can go ahead and make these in a pan that has the mini bundt pan, you know, that it's like a cupcake sheet, and it would be quicker, but I like to play with my kitchen gadgets. So I thought, why not make a video on it in case anybody else is interested or already has one and is looking for a new recipe to try in their Dash Bundt Cake Maker. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get started and jump right in the video. The first thing I'm going to do is hook up my Dash Mini Bundt Cake Maker. That way it could be preheating while I put this cake batter together. Now the great thing about this recipe is it's low carb. So that's great. And the thing about using low carb recipes when you're baking, a lot of times they have the almond flour, and that's what I'll be using today. That is what helps it stay low carb. So I have my sifter, and whenever I'm going to be baking with almond flour, like cakes and that type of thing, I sift my almond flour. And this is just a metal wire strainer, and it works just as good as one of those little cup style ones that's got the handle on it. So I'm just going to measure out a level cupful, drop that in, and I'm just going to shake the strainer side to side in order to sift this almond flour. And for the bigger pieces, I'm just going to break them up with the bottom of my measuring cup and finish sifting. Now next I'm going to be adding 1/4 cup of this monkfruit sweetener. Next, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, I'm using a 2 teaspoon measure here, so it's only going to take it once. Whereas if I had a teaspoon measure, I'd have to measure out twice. So I didn't want to confuse anybody thinking I just put 1 teaspoon instead of 2. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Next, I'm going to add a little dash of salt. Using my spoon, I'm going to mix all these dry ingredients until they're well combined. Now I'm going to start adding the wet ingredients. So I have 1/2 cup of melted butter. I took a 1/2 stick of butter, melted it. Next I'm adding 1/4 cup unsweetened almond milk. Next, I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. And next, I'm going to add 2 large eggs. And before I add them to my mixture, I'm going to take a fork and beat those. That just helps give a little head start on getting this batter to come together quicker. There we go. Now, using my spoon, I'm going to mix all these ingredients together until this mixture is well combined and it forms a batter. Now that I have my cake batter mixed up, I'm going to transfer it over into this large measuring cup, and that just makes it a lot easier when dealing with the mini bundt cake maker with getting your batter over into that small little cake pan. And there's our cake batter. Now my Dash Mini Bundt Cake Maker has already preheated, and the little light will come on to indicate when it's preheated. So from here, I'm just going to add my batter to the pan. Allow these to bake for about 10 minutes. You want the top, you can lift the lid and peek at it from time to time, and you want your tops to start to brown a little bit. It's better to have a little over brown than under brown with these Dash Mini Bundt makers. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's start making cake number 1. Now I'm just going to add enough batter to fill up this first bottom cup down here. You see how much easier using that measuring cup makes it? Now this will not overflow. I'm going to stop it right about there. This will not overflow because it has room up in the top of the Dash Mini Maker for your batter to rise. So I'm going to put that down, allow that to bake for about 10 minutes, and I'll bring y'all back when it's done. So what I'm going to do is raise the lid of our Dash Maker, and I'm going to use a toothpick and test for doneness. And it's coming out clean, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this little cake and put it on my cooling rack and set it aside. Now with this Dash Mini Maker, it has two little handles on each side that will help lift the cake up, just like this. And they're very hot, so these little silicone gloves come in handy for that. And from there, I'm just going to bring it over to my cooling rack, dump it over like that, and allow it to cool. So from here, I'm going to repeat this process 2 more times, and I'm going to allow these cakes to cool completely. And once they have, I'll come back and I'll throw together a little white icing and drizzle over top of these and let you see how they turned out. I'm back, guys. I've got all my little mini bundt cakes made. So from here, I'm just going to allow these to continue to cool. And once they're completely cool, I'll bring you back and we'll put our icing on these. I'm back, guys, and my little mini bundt cakes have cooled. One here is just a little bit still slightly warm, but the other 2 are completely cool. So it's pretty well cool. So I'm going to go ahead and flip these over on my cooling rack. And now I'm going to put together a simple white icing to drizzle over top of these. Okay, I'm going to be using this Swerve confectioner sugar, and I'm going to add 1/3 cup of the confectioner sugar to my measuring cup. And typically I just eyeball the next measurement, which is my unsweetened almond milk, and add just a little bit to this confectioner sugar till I can whisk it and get it to the right consistency that suits me. But I'm going to try to measure it. I'm going to start out with a tablespoon. If I need more, I'll add a little bit more. And using my whisk, I'm going to mix this up. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but that's pretty good. But I think I want it just a tad bit thinner. So I'm just going to add a few little drops. There we go. Mix, mix, mix again. There we go. So that would have been just slightly over 1 tablespoon of the unsweetened almond milk. Okay, let's get ready to drizzle this icing over top of these mini bundt cakes. So first I'm going to place me some wax paper underneath my cooling rack before I go drizzling this icing over top of these cakes. That way I don't make a big mess everywhere. So there's my wax paper. And there we go. There's our little mini cakes. Okay, from there I'm ready to drizzle my icing over top of my mini Cinnabundt cakes. I'm going to hold my measuring cup up a little bit high and I'll get a better drizzle on my icing. There we go. Now from here, they're ready to eat. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hope you'll decide to give this a try. And until next time, guys, bye.